to stop so they can see it.
Whoa, dude, those cars have holes in them and stuff. Welcome to Dragonmans. Here we are again, Honda.
Bloody mannequins.
Closed on Mondays.
Your destination is on the right.
What do you mean on the right? Keep going. Keep going. Dude, this place is cool.
This place is weird. What do you mean?
There's skeletons everywhere.
I think it's supposed to represent shootouts. Shootouts.
Okay, we're good.
And those bloody mannequins.
We're not the only ones.
Colorado. What about the air?
Right there. That'll work. All right. So here we are at the Dragonman. We're gonna do the Dragonman adventure. We'll come back in one sec. All right. That's a cool sign. Really?
It starts in here.
I'll grab it.
Look at all the guns.
This is like something else. Well, I'm doing a good job, right? Yeah, you're doing good. These guys are all sound. All right, got Melissa. Okay, you guys ready? Yeah, tell me when. Whenever you're ready. All right, guys, so I'll start taking tickets if you want to hand them to me. You guys are good to go. Okay, don't put them on the wrist. Go ahead. I don't know.
Uh-oh. Hold on.
Okay, I got it.
Where do you get those at?
You gotta buy them over here.
Okay. Sorry, excuse me, pardon me. Where do you go to get those tickets?
Up front. There's a counter up here. Yeah.
You get them from the counter?
Yeah.
Huh?
I think they're talking about the inside. There's a
Okay.
picture in there.
Well, let's just... We'll try it. It's fine. I feel like we went the wrong way, huh? Well, they're like, you need a ticket. And we're like, okay.
Yeah.
Where did you get it?
We got it off the web.
Oh, okay.
And you want to go that way.
Okay.
Go behind it.
Sorry, brother. I need 4 tickets if I can.
Tickets?
Yeah.
Okay, that'll be 80.
Go ahead. You wearing yours? Look at that.
Thanks, brother.
Take off, man.
Boys, here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just a minute and he'll get
Yeah, you're fine, dude. Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem.
You got a ticket? I'll take that from you. You got a ticket, bud?
That just gave it to you.
You're good, go ahead. 82, come here, 83.
High five. Dude, right off the bat, we got tanks.
I've never seen natural tanks in my life.
You can take some pictures too?
Okay, John, that's enough people. Close the door. How you doing, guys? I'm the Dragon Man, and I got my nickname because of that dragon motorcycle you're seeing inside. If you didn't see it, after the tour you could go inside and see it. I made it in 1967. I have it for 52 years. I've been driving that dragon bike all these years. In New York City and Brooklyn, where I come from, people used to go, hey, there goes the Dragon Man on the motorcycle, and that's how I got the name. You're probably wondering. So anyway, the looks like the museum tour is getting out of hand.
It's good.
We never ever used to have this many people. You know, 15, 20 years ago, I was happy when 6 people showed up. Now look what happened. But I'm real happy, and you guys are going to be very impressed. I've been working on this museum probably over 34 years now, and it became one of the best privately owned museums probably in the country. What makes my museum really special is everything, 95% of everything you're going to look at works. Fort Carson couldn't say that. These are real guns, real bullets. In this one building with my hot rods, there's 124 vehicles. 92 military vehicles and 32 hot rods. We're going to go through my Oldies but goodies room. It's going to bring back a million memories to all you guys over 50 years old. And all you younger guys, I'm going to show you what you missed. So this is John over here. He helps me every week. And we're going to cut the tour in half. And if you have any questions when we're inside, all you have to do is raise your hand and I'll answer them. We're going to have somebody in back of each tour. If you have to go out for any reason, just raise your hand. We'll take you out and bring you back in. Okay? And I want to thank you all again for you know, coming out and giving us all this money. All the money that I collect every week goes back into the museum. Absolutely. I spent over $6 million on everything you're going to see, and that's nothing compared to what the government spends. Anybody have any questions before we go in there? Any questions? Okay, so all the pretty girls are going to go with me, and all the guys will go with John. I got it all figured out. Okay, let's go inside and have fun. Thank you. Hey, that was a better speech than Trump. Okay, let's go inside. We're going to have some fun. Where's Ryan? Good question. Where's Ryan? We just got to wait. John's got to count how many people. I'll probably take 55 to 60. Yeah, it's another beautiful day in Colorado Springs.
All right.
All right, they were from New York. I'm from Brooklyn.
Oh, I'm from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Rochester Avenue in St. John's Place.
Yeah, and
I used to hang out with your father. Yeah, Prospect Park. Okay, if you don't mind, just wipe your feet. Thank you. And tell, you know, we got to keep moving, you know, stay with the crowd, no walking around, and no shaking the mannequin's hands. The arms fall off.
What's up, buddy?
He's like the Willy Wonka of guns.
He's the Willy Wonka of guns. That's awesome. Oh, wow. Dude, there's so much to look at.
Yeah, Okay, just stop everybody right here, and I gotta put the lights on.
Oh, wow.
I've seen one of these helmets before. My cousin has one.
Steel coffin in the back.
Yeah, come on in. You can move up to here. We'll try to get everybody in here.
Hope you don't mind recording for my
No,
YouTube
take
channel,
all the
man.
pictures you want.
Thank you.
This is America.
Are you a famous YouTuber?
I am a very infamous YouTuber.
You're a wannabe
He
trying
wishes
to be.
he is.
This'll boost you.
Yeah.
This'll do good.
So anyway, you're looking at my Omaha Beach display here on the left and Utah Beach display on the right. This represents 1/7, 1944. Everything behind the sandbags is 100% original. I deal with 5 collectors overseas, and in the last 25 years or more, that's where I've been getting everything. Okay? They used, on D-Day, the troops came off the landing craft with M1 carbines and M1 Grants. See that? And if you look at your history books, they have 10-round magazines in there. Them guys really didn't stand a chance. The Germans had the MG-34s, the MG-42s, and very, very brave men. They had the M1 carbine and the M1 Grant. Okay, right in the corner over there is my medic display. That's all original medicine, operating tools, and Band-Aids, dated 1941 to 45. Over here, we got a spotlight, see right here, to your right. That's a spotlight that I got from a collector in Belgium with the original generator, and it still works, that they actually used on Omaha Beach. Isn't that something? I paid $8,000 for that. Okay, over here, we're going to move down a little bit. This is called an M250 caliber machine gun. I have 14 of them now. And like I told you, what makes my museum special, everything works. These are real guns, real bullets. This is my 81 millimeter mortar. These are practice rounds. If you look on my Facebook page, going back about 6 months, you'll see me and my brother firing this mortar at my 220-yard range. These mortars actually go up about 400 yards, and then they come down and stick in the ground. That's cool. But it will fire real ones. But, you know, we don't want scrap metal flying all over the place. Okay, over here, this is a Army searchlight, like they used on Utah Beach, with the original generator over there. See, and these are the boxes of explosives. There's no powder in the dynamite tube, but they're dated 1942 and 1943. Okay, on this side, this is a 60 millimeter mortar, and this is the original wooden box that was shipped overseas in. If you guys come to my machine gun shoot, it's September 14th and 15th. You'll see all this stuff operating. I rent out almost 200 machine guns that whole weekend. This will be 28 years in a row of having a machine gun shoot. There's not too many places in the United States where people could still do stuff like this.
Yeah. What are the dates?
September 14th and 15th. It'll be posted on my Facebook page. Okay. You don't want to miss it. Everybody has a great time. We blow up cars, shoot down little model airplanes, everything you see in a Schwarzenegger movie. Yeah. Okay, over here, this is cooking equipment from World War II. If you look over the sandbags, look at the pots and pans. They're all dated 1942, 1943, and 1944. What makes World War I and World War II stuff so collectible? Almost everything, 98% of everything from every country in World War I and World War II was dated. They stopped doing that in 1950 for Korea. Wow. Okay, over here, this is the potbelly stove they used. This is a medic display. That's U.S. government Army issued embalming fluid. See that? The embalming fluid is still in those jars.
In those green jars?
Yep. Wow. Okay, this is a switchboard. See, there was no transistors back then in the radios. They had to wire everything up to the all the foxholes. This here is a gas patch. See the gas patch? If you watch that movie, Save Private Ryan, you see the soldiers were wearing a gas patch on their right arm, just like this. And that would tell them if there's agents, chemical or biological agents in the air, and they know to put their M5 gas mask on. This here's a U.S. government Army-issued World War II porta potty. See that? It all folds up and it could go anywhere the troops go. This is soap made out of horse fat, World War II Army issued. Okay? If you guys have any questions, just raise your hand, and 99% of the time I can answer it. Yeah.
So you saying about the patch would change colors or something?
Oh yeah, blue like my jeans.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
this would actually turn blue if there's chemical weapons in the air, and they know to put their gas mask on. That was a very smart idea. Some Jewish guy probably invented that.
Yeah, he's a Jewish guy.
Thank you. Too many people.
Yeah.
So impressive.
Do they have nothing like this in Canada?
You're the only one who has anything like this.
Yeah. Probably half the stuff they won't even allow in Canada.
Oh no, we're not allowed to do shit in Canada.
Yeah, you should move here. We should. I'll sell you 5 acres. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'll give you 5 acres, a tough shed, a garden house, and an extension cord. You can move right in.
And I can build from there?
Yeah,
Perfect.
that's a start.
That's a good start. I got down camera. So we hold you to it.
Yeah, let's just move down a little more. We got a lot of people today. Everybody wants to hear. This is all the stuff on this side that was brought back by the Fort Carson soldiers in the last 27 years. Yeah, them guys really like me, and I like them. Hey, you guys can move up a little, in here a little bit. We're trying to get everybody in here. Hey, come on in. Hey, Ryan, use the stun gun. Yeah. So anyway, this is my American-Iraqi display. January 17th, 1991, Desert Storm started, and the Fort Carson soldiers nicknamed their uniforms the chocolate chip uniform. See, it looks like chocolate chip? And every 6, 7, 8 years, the U.S. government changes the design on the uniforms. So as the designs changed all the way up to the end, that's called the multicam, and that's what they're wearing today. This is all souvenirs the Fort Carson soldiers brought me back in the last 27 years. And don't think I get it for nothing. I got to trade them for guns, I let them use the shooting range, I give them bullets, I treat them real good. So anyway, this is the 2 bomb suits. In fact, they're actually using these, they're still using them in Afghanistan. And see the shoes, the bomb shoes? See, it's got 4 prongs sticking out? They walk around like that. The reason they have the prongs are so spread apart is so they don't step on a landmine and put all the weight on it, or else it would go off. And I have a landmine display, and I'm going to show you how a landmine works and how to deactivate it. Okay, anybody have any questions? Okay, you turn around on this side. These are real special uniforms to me because these are Fort Carson soldiers' uniforms that over the last 30 years, I hire them, you know, on the weekends to watch the kids on the paintball field, run the dirt bike track, you know, help me clean everything, cut the grass, and I make friends with them. And I told them, when you go to Iraq or Afghanistan, take a picture of you wearing the uniform. When you come back, give me the picture and the uniform, and we put them in the honor row. And the end of the summer, I have to make room for almost 30 more.
Wow.
So I talked to the carpenter yesterday, and he's going to make a big shelf going around the top here. Because when their parents come into town, they always call me up and they want to come to the museum and show their family their uniform and their picture. Yeah, good idea, huh? Okay, let's move over here.
Sorry.
If you're wondering how many helmets I have in the museum, over 5,000 and over 4,000 flags. Okay, let's move it up a little bit. Hey, you guys can move over here. Yeah, I see already I'm going to have to put like a restriction on how many people come, you know, because, you know, it's getting out of hand. Okay, so anyway, 10 years ago, they brought me back these RPGs. These are from Russia, right? They give it to the insurgents, that's the bad guys. These they use against the American vehicles. If this hits a vehicle, anything, even an armored tank, it goes through 3 inches of steel. This is tungsten. It's a very, very hard metal. I'm allowed to have these because they're brand new and there's no powder in them. So they're like deactivated. But isn't that something? My eyes really lit up 10 years ago when I walked in with this, you know? You know, they brought me stuff back like this that I could never ever buy, like in America.
Right.
Okay, over here, this is the night vision that they've been using. You can see an insurgent about 400 yards away. Okay, let's move down a little more. Yeah, this here's Joseph's Apache helicopter pilot's uniform. He got out of the service about 8-10 years ago. He gave me the whole uniform, the helmet, and a picture of the attack helicopter that he flew. You'll see a lot of Iraqi flags. A lot of them even have bloodstains on them. I have uniforms with bloodstains on them, and I have insurgents' knives with bloodstains on them. It makes it more realistic. Okay, check this out. This is the newest gas mask the Army is going to be issued January 1st. I know a colonel. He lives down the block. I'm real good friends with him. They sent 24 of these gas masks to Fort Carson to be experimented with, and he lent me one a few months ago to show people. This whole gas mask folds up and could fit in the soldier's backpack real easy. So you'll see. Now let's move up. Hey, come on in. Yeah, those, when you walk in, those are dead, are insurgents, the bad guys. When they shoot a bad guy, they have to photograph the body. I have over 300 of those pictures. What's that? Oh. Now let's move up. Okay, these are called hookahs. See all these pipes? They're called hookahs. And they can bring back a new one, they told me, but they can't bring back a used one because of the diseases. Yeah, we got to move up a little more. Got to get everybody in here if we can. Okay, let me get over here. Okay, when you come to where I'm standing, this is the camel spider. These run around the desert. They're 14 to 16 inch diameter. And they told me they bite, but they're not poisonous. They're called the camel spider. Okay, these are the insurgents' knives. I have 2 show cabinets of homemade knives. I don't have 2 knives the same. Every knife is different. And when I started getting these about 20 years ago, they started bringing them back. I took Nevergel steel wool. I tried to get the blood stains out of the metal, and it won't come out. Blood is like acid. You know, it gets in the metal, you can't get it out. And now I'm glad I didn't, because it makes it more realistic. Okay, let's go around the turn here. Okay, all these green uniforms here, these are all Republican Guard uniforms. And some of them have blood stains, bullet holes in them, and a lot of them came from, Saddam Hussein's palaces. Okay, you come around the turn, check out this last picture on this cabinet. This is one of 7 Saddam Hussein's palaces. They brought back a picture of his palace. In the show cabinet is sand from the palace, around the palace, the rocks from around the palace, pieces of the palace, the knife they found in the palace, and all that money they found in the palace. So it makes like a whole story.
That's cool.
I don't regret wanting to go here.
Told you.
Now let's come around the turn here. Okay, when you come around the turn, this is the capture of Saddam Hussein. I got it from a colonel. I got the CD card. I'm supposed to say I found it, but he's already retired. But this is the hole they pulled him out of. See, they roughed him up a little bit. They opened up his foot locker, all American $100 bills. These are guys from the 4th ID. They helped capture him from Fort Hood, Texas. Over here, they took him to trial. Yeah, look at him. They didn't even comb his hair. This is the jail they kept him in. They told me he's standing here 1 hour before they hung him. And this is the double gallows in case one malfunctioned, and the rope around his neck. These pictures really belong in a history book. Okay, if you turn around, that big book over there, that's one of Saddam Hussein's scrapbooks they found in his palace. He used to save all the newspaper articles. And see the little notepad? That's his notebook that they found. And here, let me show you this they brought back. This was laying in a box right next to one of his beds in one of his palaces. This will take your head right off. Yeah, you wouldn't believe how heavy this is. Hey, you want to hold it? Heavy?
It's got a little weight to it. I believe it'd probably take your head off.
Yeah, well, that's one of Saddam Hussein's swords.
That's cool.
Yeah, let me put it back. Yeah, they're always bringing me stuff back. Okay, these are his 7 palaces, all these pictures. And yeah, let's move it up a little more. This is my friend Zeke. He's a sniper now in Afghanistan. Look what he's wearing. He's wearing a Dragonmans t-shirt. For good luck. I think he's out of uniform. He took a picture through his scope of that insurgent that he shot right after the picture. See that? Okay, Dave, he flies the Apache helicopter. See that? Look in the front window. Dragonmans t-shirt. And what Dave brought back, one of these guys here shot a I-6 guy. Looks like they shot him in the head. Yeah, see that? And then they opened up his backpack, and they found the I-6 flag, like you see on TV. See, they had black ones and white ones. Let's see, they told me it goes this way. See, an original I-6 flag. See that? I'm thinking about putting this on Facebook and tell the guys I have one of their flags and try to get it back. That would make a good video. Yeah, I'm not going to do that because these guys are crazy. They want to die. Yeah, see, there's a white one with bloodstains on it. Okay, the next room is Afghanistan. When you walk through, watch you don't trip over the rugs. Just watch the rugs, you don't trip. I don't have trip insurance.
You don't trip it. Oh, be careful there.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like it.
Break too if you need some water or something, right?
Yeah.
It's like her old shoes and jewelry.
Hey Ryan, you know where the lights are, the switches? Okay, and then go in and get me a bottle of water. Okay, so anyway, this is the Afghanistan room, and as you see, I'm going to have to make this room bigger. The museum, it's never big enough. I extended this building 19 times. Ooh. Yeah, it's registered as a pole barn, so it's real easy to extend. Doesn't have a cement floor. Okay, so this is the Afghanistan room, and this is the Afghanistan's army uniform. This is the way they look over there with their uniform on. And this is the insurgents, that's the bad guy. Now, if he drops the AK-47 and the bolo knife, he just blends in with everybody else. That's why every day a lot of innocent people are getting shot by accident. The enemy over there doesn't have a uniform. See, they're very religious. See, those are prayer beads, and they carry their Bible. They touch 2 or 3 of their beads, they told me, and they lean on their prayer rug every couple hours, and they pray to their God, Allah. Then they smoke, from their hookah, and then they grab their AK-47 and they go look for Americans. That's what they do. All the hookah tobacco is, let's see, it's right in that show cabinet over there. Brand new hookah tobacco. It's like marijuana. I tried some out sometimes, and that's why I'm still in a good mood. Yeah. Okay, over here. This is all the religious stuff, the Holy Bible, the holy beads, the holy water, everything was holy. There's over 100 religions in the world. So really, who's got the right God? You know, if you think about it. 60%, going back in history, 60% of every war had something to do with a God. You know, these are the biggest prayer beads I ever seen. Look at the size of these prayer beads. See that? And if you were a kid, a young child, or a teenager, you would have been dressed like that. See? The only difference between the Iraqi dress and the Afghanistan clothes is the Afghanistan people actually have a shirt and pants. Where Iraqi people, they take a sheet, they cut a hole in the middle and put it over their head. We call it a man dress. Right. Luckily, it's not too windy over there. Yeah. Okay, we're going to go out to the next room here. I'll tell you about my half track.
Cool, huh?
If you guys want, you could go on top of the, you could get up on the stairs. This way everybody could come in. Thanks. Hey, come on in. So anyway, I have 7 half tracks. I have every American half track right now. This is the M15 half track. This is the rarest one. In 1942, the White Trucking Company in Wisconsin made 530 of these. Over 400 went overseas and never came back. So I'm real lucky I got one. See, that's what the U.S. government does in every war, from 1914 all the way up to what they're doing today. After the wars are over, they bring all the men back, and they always leave the vehicles overseas. That's why on TV, you see the I-6 guys riding around on brand new Humvees that we left over there. If they're not going to use them, they should at least blow them up or destroy them, right?
Yeah.
So this is the rarest half track. It's got a 6-cylinder gas motor. At 3,000 RPMs, it equals 147 horsepower. Okay, that's the M2 half track. That's fully equipped. That's got an M250 caliber, 1919 30-06 anti-aircraft gun. It's got the original box of sea rations in there from 1944 that were never opened. And it's got a skate rail going around the whole vehicle. The machine gun is on a trolley, they call it, and it could travel 360 degrees all around the whole vehicle. See that? And that's just the way it would have been coming off the landing craft, June 6, 1944. On the side is M10 landmines. See, that's a landmine rack. So go up over there, you can take pictures. It's got the original radio in it too. Over the last 38 years that I'm doing this, I had 7 vehicles shipped back to New York.
There's your watermelon.
Oh, thank you. And I'll show you the ones. A couple of them that came back from Europe actually have German bullet holes in them. Yep. Okay, so let's keep going.
Do these ammo cans all have ammo in them?
It'll hold 6,850 caliber bullets. No, there's nothing in the boxes.
Which half track is the fastest?
What's that?
Which half track is the fastest?
They all have the same motor in it.
Really?
So that would be the fastest because it's the lightest. Yeah.
Where are you going? Up.
Look at that.
Oh, John's going that way? Oh, I guess it's okay.
Yeah,
Wait.
yeah, it is, yeah.
Is that a gas mask for a horse?
Yep, that's right.
Gas mask.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, man, this place is awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
I thought I had a lot of guns.
You want me to adopt you?
Yes.
Are you a good worker?
Yes.
You don't eat that much?
I 2 out of 3.
Yeah, let's come right around the turn here.
A baby gas mask.
Yeah, I got to stand over here. If you don't mind. Okay.
That's actually creepy.
Okay, guys, when you come over the bridge, this is my gas mask display. Right now, I have every American gas mask from 1914, as the years went by, to what they're wearing today. The last one is from the Air Force, the other one's from the Army, until January 1st, when they issued that new gas mask that I showed you. This is all chemical and biological decontamination components from World War I right through Vietnam. These are the baby gas masks, super hard to get. 20 years ago, I paid $1,500 for each one without the baby. Now they're worth, all this stuff just keeps going up in value because there is no more, you know, available. So anyway, this one came from France and the other one from Belgium. The mom used to put the baby in the gas mask and pump the charcoal filter on the left side. See that? The rarest gas mask of them all, right here, and I have 3 of them. This is a rubber gas mask, the M15 gas mask, that was made for the invasion of France, June 6, 1944, but luckily the GIs didn't have to use it. The Germans didn't use any chemical or biological weapons on the Americans or the Allies on that day. And this is the gas patch, like I showed you. These are very, very hard to get too. Hey, anybody have any questions?
Could you hold up that gas mask, please?
Yeah.
See it over here?
Yeah, this is the rubber one, rubber gas mask. Yep, very hard to get. Fine. Okay, let me run up here. Okay, okay.
Sorry?
Okay. Okay, come around the turn here. Yeah, we could just move up a little bit here. Okay, when you come around the turn, these are my recoilless rifles. 106 millimeter, 75 millimeter, and 57 millimeter. The only one I ever shot out here about 10, 12 years ago was the 57 millimeter. See the size of the shell? I shot it at my 220 yard range, and the berm over there is 25 to 30 feet thick, and the whole thing collapsed. It took me 2 days with my front end loader to put the dirt back up, so I definitely can't shoot the bigger ones until something big happens in town. Yeah, so these are World War II. They used them right through Korea and Vietnam. This was made 1950 for Korea, and it was hauled around on the M38A1 Jeep, which there's a picture of it, and the barrel would lay down on the hood in between the windshield. See that? This here's a spotting rifle. See that? That's a spotting rifle, and that would shoot a 50 caliber tracer, so the artillery sergeant could get an idea where the shell is going to go. And when we get on the other side of the museum, I have another one of these on the Jeep, and I'm going to show you how it works. Tell you how it works. Anybody have any questions? To own a gun like this, anything bigger than a 50 caliber diameter is called a destructive device. So you need a destructive device permit, which is very, very hard to get, especially after that 9/11, you know, in New York 20 years ago. You know, you need a super good reason for the sheriff to sign the 3 feet of paperwork with your picture and your fingerprint card. And if he does, it goes to Washington. It takes about 10 months to get approved, and then you could finally buy the weapon from the person that owns it. That's how the process goes.
So what's a good reason?
What's that?
So what's a good reason?
A good reason?
Yeah.
For collection and investment. That's the best reason. Because there's no more machine guns or this stuff allowed in the United States since 1986. That's why the machine guns, all this kind of stuff just keeps going up in value. It's like land, there is no more. Yeah, a gun like this goes for around $35,000. These are around $25,000. Yeah, all this stuff is a lot of money. It keeps going up in value. Okay.
Recreational.
Okay, over here, this is a World War II dog tag machine. If you're wondering how they made dog tags in World War II and Korea, and right through Vietnam they used these. They made these dog tags. And see, there's a little notch. Anybody know what the notch is for in a dog tag? Okay, each soldier would have 2 dog tags, right? And let's say this guy just got shot and he's deceased. Whoever's in charge, you know, they take 1 dog tag, they put that notch in your teeth, and they push your jaw up, so this goes in between both teeth. And this way, when they come around and pick up the body, they could identify it. And the lieutenant, the corporal, the captain, whoever's in charge, would take the other dog tag for the record book to write down that, you know, this soldier got shot. Dog tag machine. Okay, we're going to go up on the deck. They only made them for 3 years. It's a scout car. That one came back from Belgium. 1938 to 41. That's the vehicle the half-track was designed out of. See, that's four-wheel drive. The half-track has tracks in the back. So they took the rear end off and put tracks in the back, and they developed the half-track out of the Scout car. Take a look at the pictures on the hood. You'll see the way I got it back from Belgium, how bad it looked. Yeah, look what it looked
Hit
like.
their own guys yet.
But no matter how bad it is, I had to restore it. They only made these for 3 years. Yeah, that here, this is a Tuxton crane. They only made 320 of them. Most of these were at the Brooklyn shipyard, loading up the crates and everything on the ships so they could go overseas. I was real lucky to get that.
Yeah, like all the machine guns in here work, dude. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, I moved all these cabinets back.
Well, this place.
Okay, here, let's move it up. This is the Russian display.
Yeah.
Hey, finally a gun that I own.
Yep. Are you from Russia?
Nope, but I bought their gun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got the sniper version of that.
Mosin Nagant.
Yes, sir. 9130.
Yep. 7.6239. I mean,
54R.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
They're still using it. That's the longest military
Yeah, right.
staying round, I believe,
World
right?
War I, right through World War II.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to move it up a little more.
Here, mommy, guys.
Hey, you can move over here a little bit. Thank you. You guys learning a lot today? Yeah, today in 2 hours you're going to learn more than you would have all year in school.
Is that right, boys? I think so. I think it is
You know,
true.
a lot of young guys bring notebooks, you know, you can write everything down. And a lot of kids, when you go back to school for history, if you have a question, you could always call me. I'll help you on the phone. Yeah, you're allowed 3 questions or 1 stupid one. Here, let's move it up. Gotta move it up. Everybody wants to see everything. So anyway, when you come over the bridge there, this is my Russian display. This is called the Yule motorcycle. It looks exactly like a BMW, but it's called the Yule, 1943. And 3 weeks ago, I had this running. I like to start everything up in the museum twice a year. Mostly after my veterans party, November 11th. I get a whole bunch of friends and we start up, you know, most of the vehicles and take the batteries out, fill them all up with gas, and then I cover them up with plastic for the winter. It gets very, very cold here. We never got any Obama funding. Well, anyway, the Russians, they use these Mosin Nagants. See, there's 3 different types. I have them over there, you know, along the wall there on the show cabinet. And that's one of the 8 assault rifles that when President Obama was in power, that he stopped coming into the United States. He was punishing the Russians. Meanwhile, he's punishing us because we can't get the gun anymore. Yeah. It was one of the best-selling guns. They were $149. Isn't that something? With the bayonet and everything. But I'm hoping maybe President Trump will reverse that, and we can start getting the guns that he stopped coming in from overseas. Okay, yeah, the Russians, they really had it bad, you know, fighting the Germans, 1941 on. In just 4 years, those 4 years, over 22 million of soldiers and citizens died in Russia. You know, Hitler sent 3 million soldiers over in 1941 to take 1 million to take over Stalingrad, 1 million to take over Leningrad, and 1 million soldiers to take over Moscow. And in 1942, when 1942 came, it was the coldest winter on record. 36 below zero, and the guys are still they're still wearing their summer outfits. Yeah, he lost half his men that one winter. Yeah, in 1933, Hitler started with 13,600,000 soldiers. And every year he was in power, he lost a little over 1 million soldiers. You know, he wanted to take over too much, too fast. Yep. Okay, we're gonna go into the Nazi room. Hitler wanted the biggest room. Let's try to get everybody in there, and I'll tell you all about the Nazis.
Right or left? Right?
Right.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah? What?
They show something like you almost every war there is.
Oh, yeah. Where's that, on cable TV?
No, actually, it's Quest
It's antenna.
9.5.
Oh, yeah?
9.5 on regular, and
Oh, yeah?
they show all the war stuff.
Oh, yeah? I'll have to check it out.
Oh, it's absolutely amazing. Got it.
Hey, come on in. Yeah, you guys could go that way too. That's the Holocaust. Hey, come on in. This stuff is very interesting. It's everything you never learned in school. Get this over there. Okay, so anyway, when you come in, on the right here, this is a small machine gun bunker I made. This is the fastest shooting machine gun in World War II. It's called the MG42. See those 8mm bullets? It shoots a rate of 1,200 a minute. The ammunition I have was packed 1938. See the date? Date? 1938. See, everything's dated back then. See that? Wow. So anyway, the Rush, I hate to say it, but Hitler, he was way ahead of everybody. He had the fastest shooting machine gun. He had the Bismarck, the biggest battleship. He had the Tiger tanks. He had the V-1, the V-2 flying bomb. They were developing the first jet fighter, but he wanted to take over too much too fast, like I said, and he just went downhill.
Great.
You know, he really had a good chance of winning. Yeah. And if he did win, this would have been a whole different world. We probably all wouldn't even be here. Okay, so I'm just going to point out the important stuff, but you guys could ask me anything you want. Okay? Okay, look at all the uniforms they had. I'm just going to point out a couple of them. This is the artillery sergeant. This is the tanker, the Panther. This is the Luftwaffe. That's the Air Force. These are the infantry uniforms. That's the camouflage uniform and the general's uniform. Okay, you move in a little bit. These are called Kaiser helmets. They're over 100 years old. You see that? A helmet like this, give you an idea, goes anywhere from $25,000 to $3,000. German stuff's worth a lot of money. See how small the heads were? In fact, 100 years ago, people were really small. My World War I room, every uniform you see in there, every mannequin, I had to put on my jigsaw in the shop to give them a fast diet to make the uniform fit. Yeah, you know, people, you know, there was no fast food. You know, no McDonald's, no Burger King, no Wendy's, and no pizza. Yeah. Anybody have any questions? Okay, let's move down a little bit. This is a Maltese cross collection. I have every Maltese cross from 1914 to 1945. This is every German gas mask from 1914 to 1945. These are Kaiser helmets, way over 100 years old. Okay, over here, we got a political uniform, just like Hitler used to wear in 1933. I got two pictures of Hitler wearing a uniform exactly like that. 20 years ago, I paid $6,000 for that uniform. It was made in Berlin. I bought it from the hat all the way down to the boots. It's worth almost double now. This is every hat and every helmet they wore. World War I, World War II. And I'm going to show you guys something. You'll probably never see another real one. In 1933, Hitler's bodyguards, the SS, were given 15 gun belt buckles to wear, you know, to guard Hitler. They actually fired 3 bullets out of the gun belt buckle. And I have one. I'm going to show it to you. And the one I have, the serial number is number 1.
Ooh, wow.
It's the rarest thing I have in the museum. There's a lever on the right side. You push the lever. The barrels pop out of the gun belt buckle like it is now in the show cabinet. And on the left side is 1, 2, 3 firing triggers. It shoots a .22 bullet right through your heart. Let's say I'm Hitler, right? And you guys are SS guys protecting me, and the Allies and the Americans just came, right? And we have to give up. right? They took away our K-98s, our MP-40s, our bayonets, you know, our Lugers, our P-38s, right? Who would ever think they have a gun belt buckle to shoot their way out? And luckily I have one. I talk to museums all around the country for over 25 years. Half of them know about the gun belt buckle. The other half doesn't, but nobody I talk to has another one. But there has to be 14 more somewhere.
Okay, so it's right here, the gun belt buckle, straight ahead. You got a camera, take a picture of it, and it's in the history book. It's made out of sterling silver. If you look really close, you'll see it says SS serial number 1.
Wow.
Could have been, but I can't prove it.
Now, you're saying it's worth about 50 grand, isn't it worth more than that?
Maybe.
Would you sell it for 50 grand?
No, I don't need the money. I could get $8–10 million for the whole museum, but I'd rather honor the soldiers than walk around with a Jewish piper. Yeah. Somebody's gonna be rich when I die. Yeah.
I heard that a lot of those soldiers and were all on drugs like fentanyl.
Well, Hitler
He
was
put
on drugs, too.
Yeah.
put them all on
Methamphetamines.
Yes, I heard, and I did not know that.
They were the ones who
Well,
invented
gets them
it.
souped up. You know,
Yeah,
makes
I
them
didn't
feel
know
like
that they
Superman,
kept
you know?
pouring.
That's what
pouring
SS was for, special soldiers.
Yeah.
That's what
yeah.
fueled the
I
Blitzkrieg.
gotta go to
Yeah, I
the
never knew that. I just found out about that, how much they pumped them with all those drugs.
What's that?
Yeah.
1,500.
Oh, a lot.
I was
Over a
pretty much
dozen,
found
over a
out.
dozen, on
They
record.
were real pumped up.
Okay, well, you guys in the back, if you want to come over here, this way you don't have to hang out in the back. Yeah, I feel bad, you know, there's so many people pay the trip. You know, I want everybody to have a good time. Okay, so when you come around the turn here, this is all the boots that the Nazis wore. We got the hobnail boots, we got the Luftwaffe boots. These are the winter boots, the lieutenant's boots, the captain's boots. And see these boots here? These were made in the death camps in Poland, see that? By the prisoners. And these were issued to the soldiers in 1942.
We were
They
born.
were so cold. They weigh 7 pounds.
They were sponsored.
I'd like to walk around that. And walk around like Frankenstein. Yeah, it's wooden soles. Okay, these are most of the handguns they use. Those are 20 millimeter.
What's this for malaria?
It's a tentacle.
Those are all the German gas masks.
Nolan, come and get a picture of the belt buckle. This is the belt buckle he's talking about.
22 short. It's
I already know. I can't wait.
That's long.
Wow. It is a picture of Joseph Mengele. He was the head doctor at Auschwitz. He experimented with thousands and thousands of people. He liked to experiment with plants to see how come they are. But after the war, he got away with it. They never found it. Okay, see this lantern? It came back from Buchenwald, the barracks over there. Maybe the last time that candle was lit was 76 years ago. I'm always getting more and more stuff. Look at the ice pick from Dachau. Do what they used it for. I wasn't expecting to get the picture. They put it in the guy's ears, and they probably drag him to the incinerator. These are all armbands from the Warsaw Ghetto. See, and every color and triangle means something. I have the whole page here to tell you what every armband means. These are original, 100% original Holocaust uniforms. I paid over $3,000 for each one. If I didn't buy it, some other museum would have got it. This one from Sobor, you know, in Poland, Auschwitz, Buchenwald, Dachau. It's real rare to get a woman's uniform. After the war, all this stuff was buried, burned. The Germans didn't want the world to know what happened, but it was too good to hide. And they're finding stuff all over the place now. You're probably wondering how I'm getting all this stuff. This is 100% illegal to sell in Germany. You can't go to a flea market and hold up, try to sell a swastika flag. You get arrested. So years ago, I asked these guys that sell them to me, so how are you getting them? So what they do is they look in the newspaper. George, he's 93 years old, let's say. He was probably a Nazi. They go to the funeral and they meet the family, and they ask the family, did George have a footlocker in the basement or the attic? And they told me years ago, 30% of the family say yes. And then I guess they go home with them, they see what's for sale, they take pictures, they email me pictures with prices, I send them a check, and then 3 weeks later, the box is here. That's how I get everything.
Do you have
I met
any
these
lamps?
guys 25 years ago from Europe. Two guys, they're antique dealers, you know, in Europe. And they said, I showed them the museum, it wasn't even a quarter this big. And they said, Mr. Bernstein, we can help you. So since then, I probably gave them over $1 million already. Since then, they've been sending me all this stuff. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have 85% of everything I just showed you. Wow. Yep.
Do you have any lamps, Mel?
Any what?
Lamps?
Lamp shades?
Yeah.
That were made out of skin?
Yep.
No, but you never know. I got some other interesting stuff here. If you move up, I'll show you. Yeah. Yeah, some people, I went to visit the Holocaust Museum in Washington, which is 3 stories high, told me in this one corner, I have more real stuff than they have in that whole museum. That's what they told me. Okay, in this cabinet I have soap from Auschwitz made out of human fat. And I have 20 cans of Zykai gas. Yeah, let me show you. That was never opened. I have these for a long time, over 20 years. Really, how do I empty it? You know? Yeah, look at the date, 1943. See, they're rotated. Yeah, see that? Okay, see it was never opened? Okay, listen. If this opens and the little white pellets atomize, you know, vaporize with the air, and we breathe it, we're dead like in 3 minutes. But I'm real careful with it. If you look at the cabinet, see they're all over the place. I have like 20 of these. Okay, over here, this is the entrance at Dachau. Work will set you free. This SS flag and breadbasket came from there. This is the choosing ramp at Auschwitz. All the old ladies, young kids, crippled people, old men would be on the right side here. And 80% of the time, that whole line would go right to the gas chamber, so they don't have to be bothered with it. They told the prisoners to go into a room about this big. They're going to get a shower and fresh clothes and feed them. Really, the Germans wanted to give them a hot shower with the soap from human fat, so it opens up the pores, you know, in your skin, and the Zyklon B gas would penetrate faster. Okay, after they're dead, they had these other group of people. Young kids, like teenagers, really, the other prisoners called them Jewish rats. They would wear this Jewish star. I got this from a rabbi. This came back from one of the prisons there. And they wear that on their uniform, and they'd help the Germans, you know. Like after all the bodies, after they're laying in the room, the Germans don't want to go in there and remove the bodies. So they had the Jewish rats do it. Okay, and they use these claws. The serial number on here is 324. I have 2 of these. Yeah, 324. See that? And what they do is they grab you. You'd be so thin over there. This would go around your wrist. See, they lock that down like that, or on your ankle, and they pull you on the pile like that picture over there. And then they hit this other trigger, see that? And then release the body. It's called the claw. Wow. And that's what they do. Okay, this other group over here, the young men that they can work to death, if they were lucky enough to go to a work camp, see, here's a picture of the prisoners at a work camp. They're making things for the Germans. If you were lucky enough to do that, you would get a passport book. See, like this? I have about 8 of them now. And let me show you. Okay, this is a passport book. See that? It's got the guy's picture. Not only they put the picture in there, but they riveted the picture to the paper. So you can't change the picture. See that? Passport book. Okay, see the approval stamp? You see the stamp? Yeah. I got the stamp. Here's the stamp that they stamped the book with. I paid $1,000 for this. So it better be here when the last guy leaves. But this is stuff, you know, like very, very hard to get. And you know, Göring and Himmler, you know, they committed suicide with cyanide. And here, let me show you this. I have about 4 of these now. The top guys would keep this in like that top pocket. Yeah, that's the cyanide. You break that glass in your mouth, your saliva foams up, nobody could hold their breath for 3 or 4 minutes, and you die. Here, watch it. Here it goes. I always hold my hand there, but it never falls out. Yeah?
Well, let's hope not.
See, this is stuff other museums would never allow. I allow everything.
Did you have to get some sort of special permit, or how did you get the Zyklon?
They don't know about it.
The Zyklon B? Okay.
Who's they? You know, ATO, FBI. That's
a good question.
They know I have all this stuff. Yeah.
Is that key really?
The what?
The key?
The key? Oh, that's the key to the gate of Auschwitz. Yeah, yeah. I don't really show people because I like to really prove everything, you know. But yeah, I got that from the family. I'm always getting more and more stuff. I have a one-page ad in the Worldwide Military Magazine that I buy this, and in the last 3 years, I'm getting more stuff than ever. Because unfortunately, the World War II guys, you know, 300 to 400 a day are passing away. Okay, the next room here is the British. Well, this is the British. I'll tell you about the British. Yeah, John, he's got over 60 people now. This might be a record today with the museum. A museum record.
Wow, awesome.
Okay, so you come on in. This is the British. This is the first generation of grenade launchers, dated 1917. And the British used the caliber, which they still do today,
mango right
303. These are Enfields on all the show cabinets. This is the oldest machine gun, working machine gun I have. I rent it out every September. I never ever have a problem with it.
For real?
It's a water-cooled Vickers machine gun. It's like 100 years old. World War I. This is the first type of machine gun they used on the double-winged airplanes in World War I. You know, like the Red Baron, Snoopy, you know? But it's a water-cooled. I'll tell you, the older stuff is really, the better it was made. Back then, they made stuff to last a long time. Now they make stuff to last 2 or 3 years. Okay, we're going to go into the next room.
He's right here.
What's over here? Oh. Okay, the next room here is Japanese.
Oh, cool. Arasaka. Man, that is so cool.
Here, come on in. Japanese, Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941.
So much guitars.
It's always Japanese.
Sake.
Hey, we gotta move up.
Hey, it's a good thing to watch specifics.
I have to change my battery
Over the
soon.
years, I had 2 ladies over the years that were in, you know, the death camps, and they were like 11 years old, and they had the tattoos with the numbers on it, and they fainted right there. Yep. You know, it just brings back too much for them. Yeah, let's move up a little bit. Okay, so anyway, this is the Japanese room, Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941. And I know a real lot about Pearl Harbor, because see this fella right here? I just got to show him the picture here. His name was Pete. He passed away 2 years ago. He was my dad's best friend. He's a Pearl Harbor survivor. That's Pete when he was 18 years old. See that? And real fast, I'll tell you what Pete was over there. When Pearl Harbor was being bombed, he was a Navy photographer. He was outside with his camera taking pictures. And about 1.5 years ago, his family in Virginia called me up and said, well, we're getting rid of all Pete's stuff, you know. Would you like his photo album? I said, photo album? I said, he never told me about a photo album. I said, I have his gun. This is Pete's gun that he brought back. He shot a Jap on Wake Island. See, in World War I, World War II, you were allowed to bring your weapons home. And I said, sure, I'll take his photo album. So anyway, I got original pictures of Pearl Harbor that would never even in a history book. Here's his photo album. A total of about 47 pictures. Some of them we blew up. Me and John blew them up. See, these are pictures that nobody ever seen in a history book. Isn't that something? Yeah, look. And we're going to blow up more pictures probably this winter. And they're like, you know, priceless. Okay, I have about 58 ceramite swords. The oldest swords I have is right on the top there. That one's over 500 years old. Here, let me hop over here. You know, there's a lot more I could tell you about everything. You just got to ask me what you want to know. So this sword is over 500 years old. You take the wooden pegs off, the wooden handle comes off. 75% of the 58 swords I have the family's name engraved in the metal and the year it was made. If not, all of them have a brand of the maker. And I have the book home going back over 600 years. So within 40 years, I could determine when the sword was made. They were very, very proud people. Okay, they carry these suicide knives in their belt, and these are sharp as a razor. This cuts paper. Okay, put your finger there, you see how sharp that sharp or what? That's like a razor. So what they do, if they think they're going to get captured, they cut their throat, they stab themselves in the heart. You know, if you find out you can't make your house payment, your wife's cheating on you, $30 I'll sell you one. Okay, well, and what's this? That's Japanese marijuana. I'm just joking. Yeah, I like to kid around with everybody. Okay, so anyway, this was brought back from Iwo Jima. See this Nambu Model 99 machine gun, 7.7 caliber? See, if you're going to bring back an automatic weapon, which was allowed in World War II, you had to register it with ATF. You had up to 1986 to register it. If you didn't, you could never, ever, ever get paperwork. I tried 50 times. And if I can't get it, nobody could get it. People call me, they go, hey, we just found a machine gun up in the attic, and, you know, George, he just passed away. Do you want to buy it? Could we get paperwork? Do you want to buy the parts? I call ATF. I don't call them anymore because they always say no. I call ATF. I said, somebody just called me. They found a machine gun from World War II. Could I get it? Could I weld it up? Could I cut it in half? Whatever you guys want me to do, you can inspect it, and I want to put it in my museum. Oh, no, Mr. Bernstein, we need the phone number and the address. What they want to do is just get it, destroy it, and nobody gets, you know, it's... So that's pretty stupid. So in the last 3 years, I don't even call them anymore. So Iwo Jima, this was the general in charge of Iwo Jima. There's 5 generals that are very, very popular. In fact, I'm going to show you a picture of the 5 generals when we get to it. There was over 1,100 generals in World War II in the Pacific and the Atlantic Theater. But Holland Smith and 4 other generals are so popular that every history book you open up, one of the 5 generals' picture will be in it, 95%. His name was Holland Smith. In 36 days, February 19th to March 25th, 6,821 Marines died. But they had to take over the island because the B-29s were coming back from the bombing missions from Japan and running out of fuel, and there's nobody to save them in the ocean, and 3 times more of that amount of people would have perished if they didn't take over the island. The last Japanese soldier was captured almost 3 years after the war was over. He never got a newspaper. Them guys really don't want to give up. They never give up. No. You want to see a real one? You got to go to your local Chinese restaurant. Okay, over here, this is every Nambu handgun, World War I and World War II. I got a picture of the atomic bomb, August 6, 1945, 3 days later, Nagasaki. 5 days later, August 14th, they surrendered to America. The final surrender was on a Missouri battleship. Anybody know the general? General MacArthur. What do you guys learn in school? Here's General MacArthur. And then when, you know, Korea started in 1950, General MacArthur was in charge of that too. Okay, we're going to go into the next room, Vietnam. We have any Vietnam veterans here? No? Huh, we had like 5 of them last week. Okay, the next room's Vietnam, 1959 to 75. Here, come on in, Vietnam era. Yeah, that's me. Yep. Okay, come on in. Okay, here's the most important picture in the room. Here's Dragon Boy. Check it out, Dragon Boy. Yeah, what you're looking at now is before and after. Yeah, I got drafted in 1966. Yep, that's what they should have never stopped, the draft. Well, I was in the 4th Armored Division on the M42 Dusters. Here's the letter that you got in the 60s that you just been inducted. You just got drafted.
That's the draft letter?
Right.
And everyone was burning them?
Yeah, right, yeah. That's what they should have never stopped. Because I was like a bad kid in Brooklyn, New York, growing up on a, on a road track. And 2 months in the Army, they straightened me right out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should have never stopped that. That's just my opinion. Here's my honorable discharge. I was on the M42 Dusters. My name's in front of the tank. See that? This is the 211 Deuce and a Half, the Ho Chi Minh Trail. This flag was donated to me by Senator Joe Heffley. He was so proud of what I was doing with the museum with my own money. He said, "I'm going to get you a flag that flew over the White House," and with documentation. Okay, over here, this is a captured flag from North Vietnam. Vietnam was cut at the 22nd parallel. Bad guys Hanoi, good guys Saigon. And these are captured papers. See, with the Mosin Nagant, the AK-47s, to show it was really captured there and brought back. Okay, if you turn around, this is the hot gun in Vietnam. It's called the M60 machine gun, nicknamed the Pig because it's so heavy. You got bullets wrapped around your neck. You carry that for about 14 hours every day, and it gets really heavy. It was replaced about 16, 17 years ago with the 249, the 240, which they use it today, and it shoots a 5.56 and a 223. The M60 shoots a 308. If you're interested in machine guns and trying them out, September 14th weekend is the best time to come. Okay, this is the Marine uniform. They haven't changed for over 100 years. When you see a picture in front of the mannequin, that's Larry. That's actually the soldier that wore that uniform. Okay, over here, this is the summer uniform, the Tiger uniform, the Air Force uniform, and the U.S. government gave the South Vietnamese Tiger uniforms because we were there to help protect them. See how pretty the nurses were back then? That's why every day I had a problem. Okay, over here, 1966, when I was there, they took away our M14s and gave us this new Mattel gun, Toys R Us. That's the first time the U.S. government gave a soldier a plastic weapon. Nobody liked them. They always jammed. The tolerances were way too close. A lot of kids lost their lives because these wouldn't fire. It's made out of Zytel plastic. You pick up an AK-47. This is an AK-47, made in Russia, the first one in 1947. There's 8 to 10 thousandths of an inch clearance on all the moving parts for the dirt, and that's why they don't jam. It's one of the best military rifles they ever came out with. All the countries overseas use them. Okay, anybody have any questions? 58,272 young men didn't make it home. Okay, the next room is Korea, 1950 to 53.
What's up? 11:14.
Have any questions in the back there? You can ask me whatever you want.
I have both of those. Mine's a national match.
Nolan.
Well, actually,
Okay, come on in the next room, Korea, 1950 to 53. Oh, yeah. Okay, this is Korea. Korea was cut at the 38th parallel. Unfortunately, in 3 years, over 33,000 Americans lost their lives. The only thing new in Korea that they came out with is the M38 Jeep. In fact, the U.S. government didn't even make a Jeep until 1950. There's no 1946, 47, 48, or 49 Jeeps. The last one was 1945, the next one was 1950. And in 1950, when all the vehicles came out new, they converted them to 24 volt, no more 6 and 12 volt. All the vehicles were 24 volt. The only thing new, really, see, when Korea started, they gave all the soldiers going over there all the leftover World War II stuff. They still had the same M1 Garand, M1 carbine. The only thing new they came out with is called Mickey Mouse boots. See, those are warm boots, fur coats, fur, pants, gloves. It's very cold over there. They use these spotlights in Korea to look for the MiG-15s. These spotlights put out 1 billion candlelight, not 1 million, 1 billion. And that's the original generator, 1943, that runs those spotlights. It's got a Dodge motor in it. See, it's a 230 cubic inch flathead Dodge motor. And it works really good. Every November we start it up, let it run a little bit. If it was a Ford in there, a Ford motor, it wouldn't have lasted this long. Right on. Okay, anybody want to know anything?
What's the filament made out of in that makes that much light?
Okay, that was replaced. The other one's original. See, the other one has a welding rod?
Yeah.
It's a carbon rod, carbon.
Okay.
And it burns, that rod will burn for 48 hours. This one I got it, they converted it to a regular light bulb thing.
Right.
But the original one is over there. See, a lot of people that own these lights, they run out of the carbon rods because they stopped making them after 1953 and you can't get them.
Right.
Luckily, I have like 5 cases of them.
Yeah, you're the only one.
No, there's more people that have them.
Well, not that many.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a memorial for my wife. Yeah, Terry, yeah. Yeah, this is her father, Stan Flanell. He was in World War II and Korea. Look at all the medals he won. I took this picture of him 2 weeks before he died of cancer. So when she died, I put her memorial right next to her dad. I don't know if you know what happened, but about 5 years ago, I was going to have my own show on the Discovery Channel, and she got killed on the set. Yeah, we were. All we had to do is walk through smoke. We were holding the machine guns up, and walk through the smoke bombs, and the movie would have been over. We were filming for like 8 months, and one of the smoke bombs turned into a rocket and went right through her. And she was right next to me. If I didn't have this armor, it wouldn't be here. That's how close she was. So that's what happened. It took me a couple of years to even say what I just said.
I believe you.
Sorry, man.
And don't you think they keep calling every year? Discovery, History Channel. They'd love to have this on TV. And if you notice, there is no gun shows on TV anymore because every gun show they had, something went wrong. You know that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Was that the time that Larry, the cable guy, was here?
Yeah, he was here 6 years ago.
6 years ago, because
Yeah.
I saw you on
Yeah. And then Larry wanted to do the museum.
I saw that.
But then they canceled the show.
Is that why? Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw you
he
on
loved
that.
it here. He couldn't believe what was there.
When I saw it on
He was
TV,
having a ball. He was outside shooting my machine guns.
Actually-
He was shooting the flamethrower.
I saw it. The barbecue was going.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that's the station on the 9-5 Quest.
Oh,
And I
okay.
called my husband. I said, "There's the Dragonman."
Yeah. This is World War One. Yeah, come on in. This is World War I, 1914 to 1918. The Americans got involved in 1917 to 1918. And they were led from the U.S. to France with John Pershing. Here's General John Pershing. You know? And he's got a record in military history. He was the only 6-star general. Well, nobody ever went up but him to 6 stars. So John Pershing, he led all the men, to France. And unfortunately, in just a year and a half, 50,300 Americans died in a year and a half. Okay, these are called bolo knives. They go back to 1903. In fact, everything in this room is over 100 years old. Okay, the first aviation patch, see that patch? That's worth over $1,500. That's the first Army Air Corps patch that was issued for the Air Force. Wow. It wasn't called the Air Force until 1948. Okay, see this uniform here? This is Jerry Butler's uniform. And here's a picture of Jerry Butler wearing that uniform in that picture 102 years ago. I love getting a picture with the item. It really proves that, it's super real. And this is the way he folded his clothes. I got this from a family in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They told me about 50 years ago, 60 years ago, before he died, he folded all his clothes just like you see it there, and I never unfolded them either. That's a picture of his hobnail boots. Okay, this is a picture of Captain Smith. See, and that's his uniform. I have 2 pictures of Smith. And this is the way his horse would have been set up in Europe with the McCullen saddle. Doesn't look too comfortable, I'd rather walk. Okay, look at this. Look at the date on the canteen, 1905. This one's 1908. See that? Everything is dated but the horseshoes. This is the last General Patton sword, 1919, the last one they made. Okay, look at all the mannequins, how skinny they are. Like I told you, I had to cut down their arms, their waist, their chest. This would fit probably a 14 or a 15-year-old in America. Okay, they were a lot smaller back then. And these uniforms are very, very hard to find. It's getting harder and harder every year to get more and more of this stuff. Okay, in World War I, there was trench fighting. There'd be a trench about 2.5, 3 miles long. Where the Nazi room is, there'd be another trench about that long. And what they do is they shoot back and forth to each other for 5 or 6 months. That was pretty boring. And of course, they want to look over the trench to see what's going on, but they don't want to get their head blown off. So the U.S. government came out with these binoculars that are 14 inches higher than your eyeball. These are very, very, very hard to find. I talk to museums around the country. Everybody I talk to, they can't even believe I have a set. It's in the history book.
Wow.
Okay, if you got shot, wounded, had to go to the hospital, this is what the nurses look like. Look how skinny those shoes were. I had to do a lot of cutting on that. If you got sick, wounded, had to go to the hospital, that's what the nurses look like. That's why a lot of GIs tried not to get sick, shot, or wounded. Yeah, these are grandma mannequins. Okay, come on in. I'll show you the oldest vehicle I have.
That's really cool.
Okay, this is the first Dodge truck Dodge made for the Army. The serial number is 147. It's one of 1,000, one of the first ones. They got an order in 1917 from the U.S. government to come out with 1,000 of these weapons carriers, they call them. Okay, it only has a flathead 28 horsepower motor. See that? There was no battery back then. See, it has a magneto. There was no starter motor, so you have to crank it. There was no fuel pump, so the gas tanks had to be higher than the carburetor. It's called gravity feed. And in my history books, they said they had a lot of trouble with these going uphill. Because when it's going uphill, the carburetor can't get gas. So they had to hook up the horses to the front and pull them up the hill. They went through a lot of horses in World War II. So this still runs. Every year we start it up. I bought it about 20 years ago from a lady upstate New York. Her husband Ted owned this for 46 years. I told Betty that I'll keep Ted's picture on the running board. Meanwhile, I used to keep in touch with Betty, but she passed away about 4 years ago. I sent one of my sons upstate New York to Albany with the money. He put this in the back of a U-Haul truck and brought it back to Colorado. The first couple of weeks that I had it, I drove it up and down the driveway and around the parking lot. And my brother drove next to me with his car, and he clocked me at 37 miles an hour. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'd rather walk though. Yeah, all this stuff I don't use for a long time. See, I jack it up so it doesn't distort the rubber tires or the wooden spokes. All the original stuff that was issued back then for the vehicle is in the back of the vehicle. See that flag? 45 stars. The 45th state is Utah. It was made 1897. That makes that 122 years old. Colorado 38 stars. We got Chicago, Illinois. You guys ever see a 13-star flag? I don't think so. Right over there, South Carolina. 13 stars. See those 6-star flags? I bought those about a year and a half ago from a museum that went out of business in Houston, Texas. They told me those flags been behind glass for over 60 years. There's a lot of museums around the United States, if you didn't know it, going out of business, because the young generation really isn't interested in this kind of stuff. They want to stay home and play video games, right?
Not this good.
No, that's good. Yep. Okay, I'm going to put the other lights on for you. We're almost done. Another hour and a half.
He's
Put the lights on over here. One goes up, one goes down. Right, very good.
There's my
Okay, yeah, we got to put that down. Right. Good.
okay.
Okay, anybody have any questions? See, the end of this summer, I'm gonna extend the museum one more time, because I wanna have 100 running vehicles. All I need is 8 more, I'll have 100. But I don't really wanna make this building any bigger, because look how long it takes. You know, 2.5, 3 hours, you know, older people can't walk around that long. 1917, yeah.
Before that.
Yeah, you're right, yes. Okay, let's move down a little bit. This is Vietnam era hospital, a field tent, and that's an M43 ambulance that they used right through Vietnam. Everything over here is 100% authentic. You don't get any more realistic than this. Okay, over here, you're probably wondering what this is doing in here. It's not an army vehicle, but it really is. Okay, when World War I and World War II started, the U.S. government didn't have enough vehicles to get the officers around the base, so they went to Ford, Chevy, and Dodge, and bought regular civilian four-door vehicles, and they became staff cars. They're called staff cars. They put numbers on it like this one, or they put a star on the door, or they just painted the whole thing green, and it became an army vehicle called a staff car. This here's an M37. The soldiers that come through the museum here, they tell me they're still using M37s on bases all around the world. You can't beat them. Can't beat a Dodge. They made these 1950 to 68, and the Dodge brothers made over 400,000 of them. You'll see a lot of my vehicles have license plates on them. Those are the ones we put every year into the Veterans Parade, November 11th.
Do you need help driving?
This here is called the Ben Hur trailer. I had 3 of these shipped back from Belgium. Now, why would I spend all that money to get a trailer back from overseas? Because they only made these in 1943. In 1943, the U.S. government was trying to save all kinds of metal, like for the Manhattan Project, for the atomic bomb. So this would be your license plate if you want to re-register your vehicle in America. See that strip? You were told to take that strip, put it over the 1942 date, and they won't have to waste all the metal making another license plate. In 1943 was the only year the Americans made steel pennies. If you pulled into a gas station in 1943, no more steel oil cans. You'd have to pump the oil out of a 55-gallon drum into a mason jar and then put it in the vehicle. They took all kinds of shortcuts to save metal for the war effort. Okay, let's move down a little bit.
Dude,
Where did Austin go?
these are cool.
Yeah, he can have a lot of editing to do. You really think you can have an hour video? The adaptation I can release 25. People don't want to watch this really.
Oh, they will. Dude, look at all these vehicles.
M3 half-track. The only difference from the M3 and the M2 is the M3 like this has a back door. See that? And this one is equipped with the original radio. These are 1919 anti-aircraft guns, 30-06 caliber with a 75mm recoilless rifle. And if you look inside, these are rifle holder racks. This is the way the soldiers would have carried their rifles. These are M1 Grants. Hey, you can walk right around.
This place is awesome, man.
Thank you.
This really is. It really, like it's tremendous.
Oh, thanks.
Freaking
So how
amazing.
long would that film?
This thing will go for 24 hours if the battery will go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah. Batteries, not so much.
Okay, let's move it up. This is an M3 happening last week. Okay, so anyway, this is the M38A1 Jeep that hauls around the 106mm cannon. And I'll tell you why they nicknamed it the recoilless rifle. Okay, this is the shell it shoots. See all the perforated holes in the shell? You open up the breech block. This is called the breech block. You open it up, you put the shell in the breech block, you lock the breech block, and back of the breech block there's slots, about 3-inch slots, going all the way around. When the shell fires, all the gas from the black powder comes out of these little holes and goes towards the back, out the breech block. And the shell, of course, goes towards the front. And it all happens so fast that there is no recoil at all. So they nicknamed it the recoilless rifle. It's really a 106 millimeter cannon. 10, 12 years ago, I used to drive this around town. Used to get some cool looks. Yeah. But I never fired it, but it's ready to go. Okay, over here, this is the oldest Jeep I have, 1940. It's an experimental Jeep. See, I was real lucky to get this. They only made 3,500 of them. It looks like a piece of junk. I could get any day of the week, I could get over $30,000 for that Jeep. That's how rare it is. It didn't even have a starter motor. See, you have to crank it. So April 16th, 1940, in Maryland, the Aberdeen Proving Grounds, both companies, MB Willys, GPW Ford, brought their little Jeeps over there to show the U.S. government that these little four-wheel drive vehicles could climb hills, they could pull trailers with ammo in it, they could put a pedestal in the middle and shoot a 50 and 30 caliber machine gun off it, and they could be very useful in war. And the U.S. government went for it. So in 1941 to 45, both companies made almost 250,000 each. Yeah. And these Jeeps, every year they just keep going up in value. There is no more.
Were those the original ones that they had to chop in half because they weren't?
No, that's the 151.
Okay.
Okay, I'll tell you about that. In fact, I bought two of them that were cut in half.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the 151. And like this fella said, they were cutting these in half, and I'll tell you why. These were auctioned off over 20 years ago, to the public. But I read articles, and I found out why they were cutting them in half. It's because a lot of kids in California were using these for dune buggies, and they flip over really easy. Because see, they have A-frames all the way around. These were never made for civilians, just the Army. And the ones I bought about 22 years ago from Fort Carson, the last ones were cut in half with a torch, which I welded back together. They're made out of aluminum. The one in the shop with the roll bar was one of the cut in half ones. The last 3 years, the Kaiser Company in Wisconsin made these. They came out with roll bars because they knew they'd turn over. Yep. And this is one of the first ones, 1960. They'd come off the assembly line with either the radio equipment, the M60 machine gun mount, or the convoy light. See that? I have about 8 of them, 151s. The newer ones with the teardrop fender with directional signals are called the 151A2s. The last 151A2 was 1983. The first Humvee was 1984. Okay, let's go in the next room here. Very simple. Let's see, you want to move up maybe just a little more? Okay, this is the M17 landmine. These two are the most popular. And this could be fired two ways. See the tripwire? And it's got a cotter pin? You just tie this to the tree. The tripwire goes to the other tree. The soldier would trip over the tripwire, pull the cotter pin out, and this is spring loaded. It would snap and ignite a 22 blank. These are World War II igniters, 22 blanks. See that? And that's what goes in the landmines. Okay, the other way it would fire is, let's see, we got to open this up. Okay, this is a live detonator. I have a few boxes of these, live detonators. So you take the detonator, you put it in the middle of the landmine, you pull the safety pin out, push this over the top, put this in the dirt, a little dirt on top, and when you put some, weight on here, it would push down, ignite the little 22 blank, and ignite the powder, and it would blow up. Pretty simple. What do you think? What do you guys think? You have show and tell in school?
No, but what if one of those were to explode?
Well, there's no powder in it. If I put powder in this with the detonator, it's a felony. I just built a bomb. So these can't have powder near it at all. Because in the crowd here, there could be some ATF agents watching me. Yeah. Thanks to me, 2 of them have a job. One watches me in the daytime, the other one at night. Yeah, they can't fool me. Okay, these are detonators that were never opened from World War II. See? Never opened. That's a sardine can. See? Okay, this is the diaphragm landmine. See, I'm taking the top off. See, like that? And this detonator's been fired, discharged. See that? See the safety pin? I'm taking the safety pin out. See? And now it's activated if it had the firing pin in there. See, you put weight on there. See, and it goes down. And that ignites the little 22 blank, which ignites the black powder. They're pretty simple. Now, when the guys go around with the landmine detectors, like a metal detector, and they find a landmine, they'd be wearing these pouches with these metal flags on their back, and they take these and put them about 2 feet away from where it's beeping. And then the engineers would come along and put the safety pins back in these and deactivate them. That's how it works. Pretty simple. Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, there's one up front there.
Ooh. Now, John, he doesn't show people all this. He's really afraid of all this. He actually turns a little white, you know, when he shows people.
Oh, there's a question.
Okay.
You have a question?
Oh, what's up?
What kind of?
Land, what? Metal detector?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, all these are all different types. They started making them in 1938, the last one in 1945. They used them right through Korea and the beginning of Vietnam. Yeah, it's like a metal detector. Okay, let me move down here a little bit.
Chat, boys.
Okay.
I know, John.
Okay, this is a 500-pound bomb with a bomb trailer, and this is a tug. Take a look at the picture. This is the condition I got it in. I got this from a guy in New Mexico. They pulled it out of the lake. I don't buy them like that. It takes too long to fix them up. So anyway, they hook up these bomb trailers to the tug, and they pull them out to the bombers, like the B-17, the B-24, the B-25, and the B-29 bombers, and they load them up. They probably put 8 to 12 of these, trailers in back of the tug. My dad was on the B-17 bombers during World War II. All he had to do was 22 missions. He did 33. And if he got shot down, there wouldn't be a Dragonman. Yeah. Okay, over here, this is it's called the Mighty Mite. It actually only weighs 1,800 pounds. Everything on it is aluminum, even the motor. It's that cool. What makes this special, see, they used to airborne these to the Marines in Vietnam out of the C-130 airplanes. I had the original parachute in this canister. In fact, sometime this summer, I like to take the parachute out, hang it on the ceiling, and hook up the shackles to the bumper the way it would come out of the airplane. I think that would be pretty neat. So anyway, what makes this special, each wheel has its own differential and drive shaft. If it went over a landmine and one wheel blew off, it was designed to keep driving on 3 wheels. Yeah, these are pretty rare.
Wow.
They only made 3,900 of them. Okay, let's move down a little bit. This here's the last 151, 1983. See, they came with roll bars. See that? You can always tell the late ones from the early ones. The late ones have teardrops, front fenders, and signal lights.
How old's that on?
Well, it's a reproducer. I bought 6 of these from a museum in Texas. Back when I had cousins. And their job is to watch everything after 12 o'clock. You guys ever see that museum, Night at the Museum?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it gets pretty wild in here.
That would be a good movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you want to make it?
I wish.
Who did you want to play?
Yeah, you.
Wow.
Where are you from? You're from town? Oh, good. Oh, okay. Yeah, a lot of people moving here lately. Too many.
Yeah, I grew up here, man. I feel you.
Okay, this is my M2 half track. I just had that running and moving. Here, look at the gravel. You can see the track marks. That's a CCKW 1944. We just had that running too. Sometimes I just back these up and drive them around the property if you're good for it, you know, and take videos. This is my other M15. See, that's got the early WLA Harley-Davidson headlights. That's how you tell the early half tracks from the late ones. This has the removable headlights and blackout lights. And see the armor in front of the radiator? There's a lever inside. If they're shooting at you, you want to put all the flaps down so it ricochets the bullets. Okay, see this roller here? Let's say the half track is advancing at night, which most of them did. The whole front end would fall into an enemy trench. The enemy trenches back then were 3.5 to 4.5 feet wide. The tracks would push this roller to the other side of the trench, pick up the front end. The front wheels would catch because it's like four-wheel drive, and a half track could jump a span up to 6 feet. A lot of people don't know that. That's a very smart idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
So any of you guys want to know anything, just ask me. Okay, over here, this is called the Weasel. They use these in the Battle of the Bulge. The December 16th to January 21st. If you look in your history books, you'll see the Weasels going in and out of the Ardex forest, bringing the dead men and wounded men in and out of the forest. These actually float in the water too. The Studebaker made these 1941 to 45. These are all M37s. I have like 11 of them. Okay, move down a little bit. These are some 151A2s. Over here, these are 4 Humvees, one of each style.
Is that a general's Humvee?
What's that?
Is that a general's Humvee with a star?
Yeah, if it's got a star on it. Yep. Yeah, these two came back from Iraq. I got them at the auction in Utah. Yeah. Yeah, let's move up a little bit. So these are the 4 different Humvees. This is the pickup style Humvee, and back of that we have the 4-door Humvee, we have the troop carrier Humvee, and the slashback Humvee. That's like the most popular styles they came out with. And if you look on my Facebook page, last week, 4th of July, I had all 4 of these outside. I was giving kids rides. And the kids I was giving rides were anywhere from 65 years and down. Yeah. That's all World War II medic equipment. Huh? I'd rather have this than the money.
When did you know you were going to start a museum?
Like 38 years ago.
Really? That's
Yeah.
amazing.
It really started as my private collection, and then my wife said, well, you have all these vehicles and people want to see them. Why don't you open a museum?
So you were a history buff when you were...
So I'll tell you what she did. She spent 2.5 years trying to get the 501-C3 nonprofit status, right? So I could get stuff from Fort Carson. After 2.5 years, the IRS finally gave it to us. They didn't want to give me the status because people pass the gun range and they pass my store before they come to the museum, and I might profit by it. Yeah. Okay, so we finally got it. So this is 501-3 nonprofit. So I send the paperwork to Fort Carson, to the head general over there. I said, hey, we just got approved to have a museum out east here. Could I get a few things from you? You know, like a tank or a helicopter or stuff I can't, you know, it don't have to run. In fact, it can't run if the government gives it to you. So they came, inspected the museum. Took about 3 months later, because the government's in no rush. I got a book from Washington, about 2.5 inches thick, of restrictions that I have to do for them to give me vehicles. I need a cement floor. I need 2 bathrooms. Everything has to be wheelchair accessible. And I need a sprinkler system. What? That's about $5 million. So I ended up just doing it myself. So that's why I don't have big tanks and helicopters, because this is the stuff I could afford. I think I did pretty good, you know, for one guy. Yeah. So anyway, this is a quad mount. We demonstrate this September 14th and 15th. There's a lot of special stuff I take outside and show off. Okay? Each gun fires 550 rounds a minute. Those are called tombstone ammo cans. They hold 200 bullets each one. And all 4 guns on there could be fired from one guy in the middle. They have electric solenoids on them. Let me just show you. Here, this is the electric solenoids that fire the machine guns. This is what they put on the machine guns in the World War II airplanes. You ever wonder how they fire the machine guns on the wings? There's nobody out there pulling the trigger. All they do is push the button at 12 volt, and this arm comes out about 2 inches, and it hits the butterfly trigger and fires the weapon. But they have to be cocked first. See, that's how to fire it. Yeah, this is my explosive cabinet. Check out the dynamite, 1942, 1943. There's no powder in it because, you know, black powder is unstable. Okay, these are live detonators, see on the top shelf there? You take the detonator, you push it in the dynamite, you hook up the wires to the transformer. The transformer puts out 26,000 volts, like you see in the movies. They push down and it blows up. And this is the World War II and Korea detonator. And after Korea, they took this whole big heavy box and made this box do the same thing. See that? And that's how the dynamite is lit. Okay, this is, what's that?
The dynamite as well.
Yeah, that's the detonator on top, yeah. So anyway, this is a 50 caliber bullet, made and designed way before its time, 1917. This one here is red, tracer. And this one here is the most deadly one, armor piercing. There's tungsten rod inside. It'll go through 1.5 inches of metal.
Wow.
See that? Okay, this is, yeah, let me show you. Yeah, we shot this a few months ago. Yeah, look at that.
No way.
See that? Look at the other side.
Oh yeah.
See that?
Wow.
Yeah, this is pretty heavy. See, 1.5 inches thick, right through. Isn't that something?
Whoa.
That's with the 50 BMG AP.
Right. Okay, over here, this vehicle came back from Europe. The reason I wanted that, it's got German bullet holes going through the hood. So for a bullet to go through the armor-piercing metal here, it's heat-treated, 1/4 inch, 250,000 thick. The bullets they use had to be an 8mm armor-piercing bullet to go through, to make those holes. See, the Germans, they didn't have 50 caliber machine guns. Yeah, they had 20mm. Yeah, see that? This will go through 4 half-tracks. See? They don't count this as grains. There's 28 grains to an ounce. This bullet is 4 ounces. You know? The Germans had 20mm. Yep. Okay, that's my Gamma Goat. They made 14,000 of them. See, it's got license plates on it. That's a lot of fun to drive around town. It's a 6-wheel drive, and it's amphibious. It actually floats in the water. It's got a 400 cubic inch diesel Detroit motor in it. And it actually goes about 55 miles an hour. What year? Vietnam era. They came out with these in 1964. But they were always breaking down. There's too many moving parts. It has 16 drive shafts. Oh, wow. Yeah, each wheel has its own differential and drive shaft. There's just too many moving parts. If you could do a grease job on that in 2 hours, that's fast. Yeah. Okay, come around the turn here. These are the World War II staff cars. See, 1941, 1942 staff cars.
Pardon me.
Here's a CCKW, came back from overseas. The reason I wanted this one, it's got 2 names carved in the steering wheel, dated 1943. It must have been the 2 soldiers that were issued this vehicle.
Do you ever drive this thing around?
Oh, yeah, there's pictures. Yeah.
Sure enough.
Hey, you guys can move up more. Okay, this is my Russian tank, fully operational. Here's pictures to prove it. This actually goes about 30, 35 miles an hour. It's got a manual 6-speed transmission. It's got a 12-cylinder diesel motor. And this is the only vehicle I'm afraid to drive in and out of the museum. Hey, why don't you guys move up a little more? No, the T-54. T-54. The World War II one was the T-34. This was right after World War II. Yeah, look how thick the armor is. Look at that steel. 4.5 inches thick. Yeah, this vehicle weighs 88,000 pounds. Okay, and the reason I'm afraid to drive it in and out, it's 11.5 feet wide. My garage door is 12 feet.
Yeah.
So I got to put Vaseline on both sides of the fenders. 3 inches to get out of here. So it's very scary, you know. If this hits a pole or a wall, the whole thing will come down. So there's no steering wheel in here. It's got levers like a bulldozer. And if you pull the lever a little bit too much, the whole back swings around. So it's pretty scary. But I'll probably take it out for my machine gun shoot. couple more months. And I'm working on getting a steward tank. I might have a steward tank next month. I'm talking to a guy up in Fort Collins, that's north of here, and he's going through a divorce. And everything has to disappear in 30 days. And I'm going to help him.
Might as well be several of them.
So this is a steward tank. I might have one. We'll see what happens. I told him, take my offer. The tank will be here. You can always come down, drive it around, sit in it, do whatever you want. And it's almost like yours, and you get all that money. I got a good deal on this. I paid $150,000 cash and $8,000 to get it here. Yeah, shipping. Tanks go for $200,000 to $750,000. So it's really a good deal.
Is it loud?
Medium, but it's loud. It's like a bulldog. Okay, over here. This is my 113 armored personnel carrier. This is a lot of fun to drive. In fact, here's pictures of me driving it. Okay, I got this from the Army as scrap metal. You guys can move up a little more. And I was real lucky to get the machine gun nest that's on the top. Normally, they never auction that off with the vehicle. See that? And plus, it's got the turntable for the 81mm mortar, which I have on the other side of the museum. And if you read the mortar manual right here, it says, make sure your hatch doors are open before firing. Yeah, that's very important. And this is hydraulic. It goes up and down. And we take this out, too, in a couple of months. And I'll give the kids rides on it and stuff. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. This is me and my son putting the motor in. Detroit motor, 400 cubic inch diesel motor. And over the years, I know where to get, everything from other collectors around the country. And they're still using these in the Army. They were made and designed in early 1965. Okay. Hey, we're gonna make a right here, and I gotta hit the lights off here.
That's a jungle carbine.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
They only made so many of those. Those are actually really, really rare.
In fact, the first year I almost moved back. I couldn't get used to it. Yeah, when I moved here, Powers Boulevard was a dirt road. No shopping centers. They didn't know what a bagel was. And back then there was no internet, so I had to wait to be in the yellow pages. Nobody even knew I was out here.
Bagel stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty boring, but I stuck it out. Yeah, let's just move up a little more. This is the Paratrooper display. This is the Marine bicycle. As you can see, it's got a big wing nut in the middle, and the handlebars fold in half. The bicycle actually comes apart in two pieces. So each paratrooper would take a piece of the bicycle and put it on his chest, not his back, because the parachute won't open, and jump out of the airplane. The British, the Japanese, the Germans, and the Americans all used bicycles during World War II. This is the Army bicycle, and this is exactly the way they dressed when they jumped into France, 2 days even before D-Day. Like June 4th. And a lot of them really didn't make it. Like 65% of them didn't make it. Okay, I have a map here. Some of them got dropped 10 to 15 miles into enemy territory. And there's a lot of lakes and swamps and everything out there, at Normandy. And let's say they land into a lake. Real fast, they have to unbuckle, with a parachute and everything. They couldn't do that. And even if they did get unbuckled and go to the surface, the parachute was covering, so they suffocate. Yeah, they really went through hell. Okay, let's move down a little bit. This is called the Weasel, front and rear steering. Only the first 1,000 had that. These are the 5 most popular generals. Would you mind, maybe we'll move just a little more down? Thanks. Okay, guys, remember when I told you there's 5 generals I'm going to show you? The most popular generals in World War II? You open up a history book, 95% of the time, you're going to see one of these guys' faces. Omaha Bradley? Could you guys name them? That's really easy. Eisenhower, yeah. Okay. MacArthur? General Patton? And Holland Smith. That's General Patton's dog. His name was Willie. General Patton died December 21st, 1945. 9 days before that, he was in Lexington, France on a 1938 Cadillac limousine going on a hunting trip. And his driver, which was a private in the U.S. Army, went 45 miles an hour head on into a deuce and a half. That's a big truck, like over there with the cover on it. He cracked his spine. He laid in the hospital for 9 days and died December 21st, 1945. They always thought it was suspicious, but they couldn't prove anything. Anything you guys want to know, just, ask me.
Did they hang the private?
Well, I would have. Yeah. You probably got a dishonorable discharge and something like that. But the history books don't say anything about the private.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, these are the command cars. These came back from Europe. These are very, very rare. This is a 1941 to 42 command car with the original radio in the back. 1943 to 45 with the original radio in the back. These are really rare. I'm looking at history books for over 50 years. The only time I seen a general in a command car in a history book during World War II is when they took over Paris, France, and they have a parade going on, and they're coming through that big arc. Other than that, they don't want to be near these vehicles. It's a pink elephant. They always ride around in a GPW Ford or an MB Willys, and 95% of them even took their shoulder boards off with the stars. They don't want the enemy to know that's a general. Okay, let's move down a little bit.
I like that motorcycle. That's cool.
Yeah, that's a Yule. That's a 1944. It looks like it was made yesterday.
Yeah, it's
very, very
beautiful, man.
Well, I have guys in town that paint them. They own body shops, my friends. Mechanically, I do everything. This one's got a leaky radiator. I gotta fix that. Yeah, I actually have my own eye. All I need is 100 men. We could take over Cripple Creek.
We can take over Cripple Creek.
They'll never know who did it.
Except it's all captured right here.
Yeah, let's try to get a lot of people over here. I want to show you my mom's memorial. My mom and dad are in the museum. So what makes this corner special, my mom and dad got the chance to pick out where they wanted their memorial. I told them, anywhere you want, we'll make room. And my mom picked this corner here. And she was a nurse during World War II. Unfortunately, she threw her nurse's uniform away. This is when she married my dad. His name was Kermit. Her name was Edith. They had names back then that they don't even use anymore. See how nice that wedding dress is? He was in the Army Air Corps, a corporal. They didn't call it the Army Air Force until 1948. So he got married in 1944. I was born in 1945. Here's a picture of me, see, with no tattoos. And that's me about 3 or 4 years old over there in Brooklyn, New York. And this is me in Brooklyn, New York, learning how to drive with my pedal car. See that? And this is all the pictures I could find of her. And see this? I had a mannequin made with her face. See her face? And these were the last clothes she was wearing. And I told her that I'll show everybody that passes in the museum her memorial. You bury somebody, they're forgotten. Yeah, she put up a lot raising me in New York. My dad, he picked a spot all the way around the other side, because tell you the truth, they always fight. Okay, let's come around here. I'm going to light up the tent for you. You can see what a Vietnam-era hospital tent looks like. Okay, beep, beep.
Oh, I've worked those.
Hey, you guys can come around here. You can see more.
Stoves?
Did you do this to him?
Elvis.
Okay, under the tent here, you don't get any more realistic than this. This is all 100% original bandage medicine, operating tools. The operating light would have worked off the M43 ambulance. The ambulance in the front there holds 5 stretchers. They used those all through Vietnam. These are toe tags. See, I have a whole book of them, toe tags. And see George over there, he's deceased, he got shot. And see, he's got a toe tag. What they put on the toe tags was his name, his rank, his serial number, date of birth, and next of kin. And they sent them back, most of the guys, on the C-130 airplanes when the planes were coming back for more supplies. So you don't get any more realistic than this. And like I said, unfortunately, 58,272 young men didn't make it home.
Is this real blood on the flag here?
What's that?
Is this real blood on the flag? Right here.
Not that I know of, but it could be. I never really noticed that. Okay, so if you turn around, here's my idol.
Elvis.
His name is Elvis Presley. Did you know that? Yeah, you did? Oh, that's good. So anyway, he got drafted 1957 to 59. He spent his 2 years in Europe. His job was to entertain the women. And he came out a sergeant, and he was in the 3rd and 4th Armored Division. And everybody in Brooklyn, New York in the 60s, when I went to high school, wanted to be just like Elvis. You know, if you see that movie, Grease, that's exactly the way it was when I went to school. And we're going to go into my oldies but goodies room. Going to bring back a lot of memories to us older guys. Okay. We're going to go back over 60 years. You know, when you could go to a candy store and have a milkshake, a malted, and an egg cream. Okay, yeah, let's go. And that's when music meant something. Okay, we're going to turn around and follow me. We're going back over 60 years to the good old days. Yep. So you got to close the door when everybody goes in.
Rock and roll.
There's so much to look at.
Watch out for the flag, Austin.
Oops, sorry, but
Every time.
wow, look at all this stuff. Elvis trading cards? All the old Pez dispensers. Look at this old gas pump, Austin. the hand crank on it.
This is my 55 Floyd. See, it's got a Continental kit, it's got air conditioning, push button doors, windows, and hydraulic. This is a 56 Victoria. Very rare. And over here we got a 28. Not good, Bill.
This is a cool room, huh, Breck? Look at all these old cars on the ground. $0.25 a gallon. Wow, look at all these old cars, dude. That is cool. Oh, we're up to 44 cents a gallon. Oh, back to 33. I remember the old Coke machines like this. I used to have one at the barber shop I'd go to when I was a kid. They don't make phone booths like that anymore. Wow. 31 cents a gallon. That's right.
Okay, here's one of my girlfriends. Very easy to get along with. Never wants to go shopping. Doesn't want to go out and eat, and never talk back. My other one, that's Barbara. Nancy's in the car. See, she's in the car. And I took it to the car show last night. Yeah, very, very nice to get along with. And at $300, one payment. Okay, let's move up here. This is my 28 coupe and my 31 Webster. 500 super truck.
They're small inside. Remember they started in, they had those like down the street, brother. Those big barges, you know, big old cars now they're selling. Gas eaters and stuff.
So many people. Old timey barber chair. Yeah.
Don't give me deja vu.
Hey Ryan, I need you up here.
Alright, monsters. Oh, Elvis, baby. Oh, that's crazy. Bugs Bunny?
Just this one has to go down. And then put it over.
Elvis.
You know what it's called?
Who's the Spencer Fox?
sorry. Oh my god. Oh my god. This phone does not like the light in here, man. Look. Yeah.
Hey guys, that's my 800 horsepower drag spread. It's made out of 4130 chromoly tubing. I built the whole chassis on the floor in my shop. That's a blown Hemi motor, 800 horsepower. And over here in the corner is my coffin car. The hardest part of building the coffin car was me and my friends about 5 years ago on Colorado Avenue digging up the coffin and getting rid of the old lady. We got away with it. I see that. Graphic officer? That's my Halloween. Okay, come on in. This is a 1948 Williston jukebox from Williston. That jukebox is worth over $20,000. All these girls are wearing original poodle outfits. The newest one to me is over 60 years old. Here's Coca-Cola. From 1952 to 1958. I have about 36 of these bottles. The early ones are dated. They have the dates on them, and underneath, engraved in the glass, is a state in the United States that it was made. And back then, they used cocaine when they made Coca-Cola. You guys know that?
I knew that.
Yep.
And once a week, I try to drink one. Okay, when you get down to that show cabinet next to the Elvis mannequin, it's got the original newspapers from around the country. The day after Elvis died, August 17th, 1977. If Elvis was still alive, he'd be 84 years old now. How old was he when he died? I think 42. He was young. Yeah, that was pretty stupid.
Yeah.
August 16th, 1977. He had everything. I got two of his uniforms. They're in the other, that he wore in Vegas. I bought 20 years ago. Yeah.
You got any of his guns?
No, nothing else really.
Oh man, didn't they sell those a couple years back at auction?
Yeah, this stuff's worth a lot of money. Hey Ryan, let me show you where the lights are.
Red.
You think you're funny?
Okay, guys, all these bicycles are from the 50s. Here's a gas pump, 1916 with the original lock and key. I have over 500 lunchboxes and 600 models on the walls. Just don't tell the American pickers. Yeah. Okay, we're going to go out here and make a right.
¿Dónde se fue? Maybe we're gonna go there.
What? There's nothing really rusty. Just for TV. They'll probably never leave. Yeah, it won't be the same. One day they'll probably call it. Okay, Ryan, you gotta hold the flag here. And yeah, I'm gonna shut that one off just for this. All right.
I feel like I need to take like a big step.
All you got is the one. Go ahead.
Damn it.
Going out. Okay, guys, all this stuff on the right is NVA, North Vietnamese Army. And I have every uniform now from the North Vietnamese Army. That was the enemy back then. This is a picture of Ho Chi Minh. He started the whole thing in 1945. They named the trail south to north, the Ho Chi Minh Trail. That's a brought-back AK-47, Torque Roth 9mm handgun. And these are the pajamas they wore back then. See that? And the rice paddy hat. In the daytime, they were farmers. At night, warriors. Really, a lot of the enemy over there didn't even have a uniform. That's why a lot of civilians got shot. Okay, over here, they really fought like the Flintstones. They had poison darts, poison arrows, see? And they had crossbows and spears. The Bagook, we used to call them Gooks. The Bagook had an AK-47. It was really special. It was like an American guy having an M16 machine gun. Normally, they just had bows and arrows. They would never face you and fight you. There was always ambushes and a million booby traps all over the place. The average Vietnam veteran now is around like 70, 71 years old. And all this stuff I bought from them over the years. Okay, let's come around the turn here. I have every World War II radio. That's next.
Look at that crossbow.
That's really cool.
Poison arrows.
Okay, as far as I know, this is every World War II radio. There's the raft with the SOS
Something
signal.
right now that most people would never ever
That's
see
a
in their
12-volt
lifetime.
generator over there that runs all the radios on the bench from the Army, the Navy, the Marines, the Air Force. Okay, follow me over here. This is every woman's uniform. If you were a female in 1941 or 45, you would have been wearing one of these uniforms. Civil Defense, Red Cross, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. There's a picture of my mom, those three pictures over there. That's my last birthday cake, 89 years old. I told her not to eat it. My dad bought it at Walmart. Okay, over here, this is my dad's memorial. His name was Kermit. And he was a bombardier over Germany. These were the last clothes he was wearing. And here's his bombardier outfit, which was very warm. They told me they were still freezing up there because they didn't have air flight. Okay, this is Steve and my dad hanging out together. And now they're still hanging out together. Okay, over here, this is the Liberator handgun. See that? I got 3 on that. In 1943, the U.S. government gave GMC, the Chevy company, a contract to make 1 million of those handguns, which they made, to throw out of the airplanes in that cardboard box with 10 45 bullets and that wooden stick and those directions. The wooden stick to push the shell out, because it would only fire 1 bullet at a time. And this way people
You
can
don't know
grab
about
a gun, load it, get back in their basement, their console,
Really expensive,
wait for
'cause
a
they destroyed
German
them all.
house, shoot him in the head,
He's
get
got
his
3.
equipment, and liberate their country. So it's nicknamed the Liberator handgun. They cost the Americans 95 cents. They're worth $2,500 to $3,000 if you could find them. The last one I got, we found, was almost 15 years ago. Okay, the next room is the World War II room. Actually came back from World War II. I got them from widows from all around America. All these backpacks to your left, every backpack here is from World War II. This is all the personal.
Oh, there you go. There's a Liberator. Those are them. Single shot 45.
Unopened, they're worth about $500 a man. These are the 1943 Allies, and it goes right down the line. All the stuff they use. Anybody have any questions? Okay, the next room is the machine gun bunker. Let's get in there before we get attacked.
That mission I did when I got hurt, all the guys in the helicopter got the Distinguished Flying Crosses. We got the air medal.
Come on in. A couple of you guys can come to the right over
Because
there.
they took fire.
Yeah, that's it.
And some of their guys got hurt.
Okay, guys, let me tell you about the machine gun bunker.
They were never manufactured in the
Every bullet, every newspaper. Here you go. I'm going to pick up a bullet. It is 1943. Okay, you see the emergency water? Well, anyway, it's full. You can't hear it.
Oops, sorry.
But I got 4 cases right over there. The water's been in there for 76 years. Sometimes the Germans, they see the lights on and they send over the Luftwaffe. That was a World War II air raid. Okay, so anyway, you can turn around. These are Purple Heart uniforms with a picture of the soldiers that wore that uniform and got shot during World War II. I get them from families from all around America. We're going to go into the next room. I have 175 uniform mannequins with every uniform the U.S. government ever made. How's that for an accomplishment? Okay, guys, let's go out and make a left. See, these are all real guns, real bullets. You'd never see that at a government museum. Right, real water.
Shirt off.
Cigarettes are 75 cents.
Yeah, look at all the Purple Hearts.
Over the years, I have history teachers come here. I put them on the field. They really live with it. You don't have to know a lot to be a teacher these days. Okay, guys. Yeah, check out this eagle made out of one piece of wood. The tree trunk is on the bottom. I see this in an antique shop. I had to buy it. Yeah, that's a lot of work. Okay.
that.
About 48, 49 years old. No, there's no powder in it. Okay, thanks a lot for coming out. If you want drinks or anything, just come to the store. If you want t-shirts, go to the front store. And we got the hot dog truck is in front of the store, if you guys are hungry. And tell your friends about my museum. Thanks a lot for coming out. If you want to take pictures in front of the tank, jump on the tank, whatever you want to do, the key's in it.
You guys want a picture on the tank? Yeah, my boy.
Keys in it, we can drive it.